Hey guys, and welcome to a new edition of Belief TV. I have a very special guest here today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Dr. Iram Tahir, and I am a chiropractor. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach, and I work with chiropractors and I work with entrepreneurs. And I'm just really excited to be here with you today, Sam. This is
Thank
like
you.
really amazing experience. Yeah.
Thank you. So, so why did you want to become a motivational speaker?
Well, that's really interesting. I think that you could say, it didn't just kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I had been kind of building it for a little bit of time, and I wanted to realize, like, how can I actually impact more people? And that's been something that's like a core value of mine, is impacting more people in a positive way, whether it's through my words, my actions, my beliefs, and being able to help people believe in themselves. So that's probably why we connected as well, too.
yeah,
So as I started developing my speaking, and I started being able to do more and more audiences and bigger venues and everything like that. Like it just was amazing. And so, I just wanted to impact humanity in a different way. And
yeah.
I think speaking is a great way to be able to do that.
Well, that's great. That's great. So, so how does being a motivational speaker impact your life today? And yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So, with speaking, I've actually been able to help a lot more people with that then come to me and want some help with their business or with their practice, or being able to develop, their practice a little bit more. Maybe they're stuck in their life. I think you have seen my TED Talk, which is on limiting beliefs in the subconscious mind.
yep,
And that TED Talk has crossed 500,000 views, which has been really amazing. But a lot of people have reached out to me because they've wanted some of the Psyche work that I do, which is helping to clear out limiting beliefs in the subconscious mind. And when I work with businesses, I actually look at the business owner and I look at their limiting beliefs in their subconscious mind. And I can give you an example of that, actually. Something
okay,
really amazing happened where, I had an entrepreneur that was working with me, and what his company did is they rehab power plants. And so he had built this company. He was about 45 years old. He had built this company. He had gotten to a point. He had two other partners,
right,
and, he was just stuck. Like he wanted to sell the company. He wanted to do more humanitarian work. And he wasn't able to really sell this company. He wasn't able to move forward like he needed to. And so he came to me and I started working with him on the limiting beliefs. And at that point where he was, his company was valued at around $15 million.
oh, wow,
Right. So yeah, his company was valued at $15 million. But he had some different issues with employees as well at that point, that I was advising him on. But he could not find a buyer for this company. And so I did some Psych-K work with him. I did some one-on-one work with him. And the amazing thing was that in 6 months, he found a buyer and he was able to sell that company for $21.7 million.
wow, so that's more than
So
you.
because of clearing out those limitations in the subconscious mind, actually was a return on the revenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that was amazing. And so, I've helped people who are stuck with writing a book, actually. So if they like need to get a book to completion, but they're stuck. So I had another entrepreneur who was writing a book, very famous person, and he was writing a book and he was stuck, and he came to me and he had seen my TED Talk. He was familiar with it. And he came to me and he was just not able to get this book out there. He was so worried about what people were going to think. He didn't know if it was going to be the right thing. And he was already an accomplished author. He was an accomplished entrepreneur at that point, but he was just really stuck. And so I worked with him with the limiting beliefs with the subconscious mind and the Psyche work. And he was able to complete the book in a matter of months after that. And then he was on a book tour. He was like #1 on Amazon. Like he did all of these great things. And,
wow,
he did an amazing job and he was so happy with the product. And in Bruce Lipton, who's, an amazing person, but he wrote a book called Biology of Belief. He actually credits Psyche for helping him finish that book, because so many of us have limiting beliefs in our subconscious
yeah,
mind. So many of us have limitations we put upon ourselves, and that those limitations come from our childhood, from the age of 0 to 6. That's when the subconscious mind is developed.
Exactly.
And it comes, those limiting beliefs, Sam, they come from our mother, our father, our teachers, our preachers. They come from the media. They come from society and what people tell you can and cannot do. And then that gets stuck in people's subconscious, and most people just operate that way. Now, some people recognize that they have limitations, and they recognize that they have issues there. And so what they want to do is they want to break free of that. And that's usually when they come find me. And so I incorporate that into our coaching. I incorporate that into, some of the work that I do, and just helping people. And I feel like I can help people a different way as well. So it started with motivational speaking, but I also help people tactically one-on-one.
Nice. And like going back to like your story on with that a guy that he helped write a book. So for example, like if you thought that people like didn't like want to hear your stuff, or like if people commented on your stuff and said, "Oh wait, I don't want to hear that," like, so what would you say? Like, how would you react to like that? Like, for example, like if like I said like, "Oh wait, I don't really like the TED Talk," or whatever, but like some other person said like, "Oh wow, I really love that TED Talk," so like it's 50-50 or whatever. I'm like, how would you react? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So, that's a great question, Sam. So what ends up happening is that how do we know when we have limitations
yep.
in our subconscious, I think is how you're asking. How do you react to that, right? When we have our external environment, that actually teaches us. That's our main teacher. Our relationships are our main teacher. What people say to us are our main teacher. So in the same instance, if someone says, "Oh, I hated your TED Talk, it was awful," and actually I have some bad comments on there. People wrote mean things too,
Yeah.
But people wrote great things as well. And obviously there's way more great things written about it than mean things, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah, that's good.
It can impact you. Now, if it impacts you, you have to now go back and you have to say to yourself, why is this impacting me? Oh, is it impacting me because I don't feel good enough? Is it impacting me because I don't feel worthy? Is it impacting me because I don't feel I should have done a TED Talk? So now these are the limiting beliefs that are coming out. And so in my TED Talk, I say, one of the biggest things I say is you have to take a step back and you have to evaluate your thoughts. And those thoughts come from our environment, and you have to look at what it is that you do believe about yourself and about your work and about your life.
Yep. So you were one of the top 100 entrepreneurs in the United States by the Kauffman Foundation and by the Obama administration. How do you feel about that? Like,
I feel pretty good. Yeah, like that was a huge accomplishment. I've worked really hard in my business. I am a chiropractor. I help other chiropractors, but I help other entrepreneurs too, like I mentioned. And, I've worked really hard in my business to learn the ins and outs of business and learn what works and what doesn't work and how to systematize and how to organize the business. And it didn't come easy. So I feel pretty good about it. Like it's a massive accomplishment. I will say I was very nervous when they asked me to speak at the White House. I was nervous. I'm going to be honest and vulnerable. At that time, I was very nervous. I was like, this is a big deal. Yeah. And I actually tried to tell them that I didn't want to do it. I said, no, you really need to pick somebody else. And they only picked 10 people out of the 100 to speak. And they were like, no, we really want you. And I felt proud as well because I was the only doctor there that was representing. I was the only chiropractor for sure, that was there, that was representing. So I felt very proud of my profession as well. So yeah, thank you for asking about that.
And so why do you believe in yourself? Why do you believe in yourself, and how can you tell others to believe in themselves more 24/7?
Yeah, so that's a really good question as well too. So I can tell you're a great interviewer. I appreciate the questions.
Thanks.
You know what I'm gonna say? Honestly, it's not easy to believe in yourself 24/7.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and nor is it maybe even possible to believe all the time, As much as I have actually used the Psych K work on myself and worked on limiting beliefs myself, like I have instances that I don't believe in myself. And I say, oh my goodness, Iram, why am I doing this? Like, why would this be happening? And, it's very easy to go into the primitive mindset of being a victim as well, So these are normal things. Like you have to acknowledge, I think human beings, you have to acknowledge that this is normal. You can feel inadequate. You can feel insecure. And that's especially if you're trying to grow to the next level. Like if you're comfortable and you've been doing the same thing every day, and you know exactly what to do, you may not have those growing pains. You may not have those things where you question your beliefs and your ability as much. But if you're actually trying to get from here and you're trying to get to the next level, you're going to be faced with difficulty and adversity because you're growing. Those are growing pains, So now it's like wherever you are in your business, let's say you're starting to learn how to hire staff for the first time and you have no idea what you're doing. That's growing pains. Or let's say now you have established how to learn how to hire staff, but now you're trying to hire other doctors. That's growing pains, right? If you're now now you've established that, now you know exactly what to do with that, but now you're trying to open up other locations or expand your business in a different way or go into a different market, that's growing pain. So you're going to be faced with adversity because you're coming face to face with your insecurity and your difficulty and that what you don't understand or don't know about. So sometimes there's fear. So it's either fear or there's a lack of information. So sometimes people feel those beliefs, those negative beliefs, because there's a fear, and a fear of not being good enough, or a fear of people not liking them or loving them, or fear of not being included. And so those are the biggest fears, right? And that's what makes people feel inadequate and not confident. You can tackle those fears and get into a positive mindset by using Psych-K work, by doing daily affirmations, by doing journaling, by doing your meditations, by doing prayer. Like all of those help clear the mind.
Yeah.
And the Psych-K work will actually get your mind unlocked so that you can surpass that fear, right? But the other thing is that sometimes people just don't have enough information. Like they don't know to take that next step because they don't have the right information of what to do. So that means you go to a coach, right? Like that's why we coach our clients.
Yeah.
That you go to find more information. You may need to do some research, like on Google. You may need to look up things online. You may need to find a mentor. You may need to ask people like, can you help me? I think that's a big thing that people have a challenge with, is saying, can you help me? Because they feel like they, are not going to be accepted. And that's simply not true. You have to ask for help. And that's why people do hire, coaches like me to be able to help them get to the next level, or they want to get to the next level and be guided there a lot faster and a lot quicker. And that's really the value of having a coach or a trainer or somebody that's working with you, because you just get there quicker and you cut the learning curve. So you're trying to get from here to here, but it would normally take you all of this time and energy and money, but hiring a coach and having someone guide you really cuts that learning curve into here. And so you're only like not having to, you can save your time, you can save your money, you can save your energy, and you can get to the next level faster. And that's something that I really had to learn. I really had to learn myself as well.
So like building confidence, for example, yeah.
Exactly. Because you said it, like confidence comes from certainty, and certainty comes from knowledge. So if you want that knowledge, you have to either research it or find it or give someone like that trust in a relationship, like a coaching relationship, where they're giving you the guidance to know exactly where to go next.
Yeah, exactly. So, so what would you like to say to the viewers, and like what else would you like to say to the viewers out here? Like what else? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to say, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate every one of you. And I appreciate you, Sam, for reaching out to me and having me on your interview here.
Thank you.
I would say a couple of different things. I would say, number one, we come into this world alone and we die alone.
Yeah.
So we have people around us that love us and care for us. We have relationships. But at the end of the day, we have to actually be able to depend on ourselves. And I mean, depend on ourselves, I don't mean necessarily monetarily or necessarily for material things or even for love. And, of course we have to love ourselves, but I mean, we have to depend on ourselves in our mind. We have to focus. And that a lot of times people will say, well, this other person is doing this. They want to point the finger. They do this. If they didn't do that, I'd be happy. If they didn't do this, I'd be happy. If this wasn't happening in my business, if these employees weren't like that, they want to point the finger. They want to say the government, they're doing this. Now if they made better decisions, we would be in a better place. But when do we actually see that these three fingers are pointing to ourselves every time we point to somebody else. And that means we take ownership. We need to take ownership over ourselves. And we need to take ownership over our mindset and over our beliefs and over our actions. You know, if your relationships aren't going well and you're not happy with the way your relationships are going, we have to look at what we've contributed to that, what we have helped get to that point, right?
Yep.
If our finances aren't going the way we are and we're in debt, it's very easy to say, you know, this is the reason, this is the reason, this is the reason.
Right.
I built my practice in the worst recession we've ever had in 2007.
Oh,
I built
wow.
that practice and it became as successful as it is. You see what I mean? And my first year I was making six figures, it was going really well. And I worked hard, of course, but I didn't let the recession affect me. I didn't allow people's thoughts and the things that they said affect me. Well, why would you open a business up in a recession? Or what are you thinking? Or, you know, you're never going to get any business, or it's really hard to get new patients right now, or it's really hard to get business right now. Like, you should probably shut down, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you have to take ownership over yourself. We want to see where we can actually work on changing what we need to, not blaming ourselves, but changing our methods and maybe getting the skills that we need to from an outside source, you know. I would say that. And then the other thing I would say is that, you know, with our beliefs, we get these beliefs from our parents, our childhood, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, everybody around us, right? Society, like I talked about before, in the media. Absolutely. And so the best way to find out what those beliefs look like are to spend some time with your family and to like investigate and look at what your childhood was like, not blaming anybody. Again, like I talked about, not blaming anybody, because our parents and our grandparents, everybody's doing the best they can from their level of consciousness. Every single person is doing the best that they know how. And that's true, you know? So everybody, including our parents, everybody's doing the best they can. But what are limiting beliefs that maybe you did take on and that you now want to transform? And it's up to you to start transforming that. So that's what I would share with your viewers, you know? And I would love for your viewers to take a look at the TED Talk that I have out there. I think that could really help them look at investigating their views a bit. And I try to make myself very available. I am on Facebook at Dr. Irum Tahir. I am on Instagram at irumsmiley. So, you know, you can reach me there. I'm very responsive with messages. If people have questions and they want to continue the conversation further, I'm definitely able to do that.
Okay, well, thank you for joining the show. And everyone keep believing yourself 24/7.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.